Just so much fun in those moments.
And it tells such a great story.
Where does a kid learn that from?
It feels a bit surreal.
I had an amazing amount of memories that comes to my mind, you know, growing up. Very few that I cherish. I would say it was very ordinary as you know, a nephew hanging out with their uncle, but for me, it was, I have such a big family, so we'd have great times at, you know, at Neverland, or we'd have family day at Havenhurst when he'd come over there, and there was just so much love and joy in those moments, and we were all just playing around, not realizing, you know, what was really going on, but just having fun. That was really the driving force, is just really having fun every time he was around, and doing anything you wanted, really. If you wanted as much candy as you wanted, if you wanted to watch 5 movies back to back, anything you wanted. It was just so much fun in those moments. But growing up, I was inspired by many things. What comes to me now, I would say his level of creativity, his level of his work ethic, of how he was never satisfied, always wanting to outdo himself and gives the audiences something unexpected each time. And I was able to see that with each video I would be introduced to, each song or album. So that was always inspiring for me to see as I grew up and became of age to really understand what it was.
After I played the younger Michael Jackson, I started to love him. I love him even more, and I started to understand him better. And one thing I noticed is he worked really hard at a young age, and he was like one of the most popular people to ever walk on this earth. And I really admire that. I really admire that about him.
It feels a bit surreal, and I'm appreciative for those early experiences with Michael, because I had a perspective on who he really was as a man, as a performer. I'm gonna call him a friend. So it's like that firsthand research that really informs the character. So it's one of those sweet memories that at the time it was larger than life, but now sitting here and standing here and being a part of this project, it's, oh, okay, that happened because of this moment right now.
I think you find a rhythm with it. I think when you know what the task is, you know that department has 2.5 hours to do their work, and so you find a way to be meditative in some way. You know, I also have a lot of fun with it. So there are times when I sort of zone out, and it's day by day. It depends on what I need, and it's not even just about the scenes. It's like, what is the energy that I'm bringing to set today? You know, sometimes it would become a dance party.
Most of the time.
Most of the time it would become a dance party, because I like to set the tone that we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't troubling at all. If anything, I really wanted to make sure that my team had the time that they needed, and I was as still as possible, and I was collaborative as well, so they can get an extraordinary job done, and that's what they did. They started with 2.5 hours of prosthetics and makeup and hair, and then they got it down, because they're experts at this. They got down to 90 minutes.
There's a few moments where, I wouldn't say I hit my limit, but I definitely had to stop for a bit, where I physically couldn't continue until I was physically healthy again to go and continue at the level I wanted to. But it was never, mentally, I never wanted to stop. It was more so physically, like, you can only do so much until your body tells you you can't, you know? And mentally, I wanted to continue even past those moments, but that's when you get in a situation where you kind of put other things at jeopardy. If you injure yourself, everyone has to kind of be put on hold until you get better, and I didn't want to be that burden. So I had to really make smart decisions after a few incidents where I did get slightly injured, but at the end of the day, I always told myself, you know, Michael must have gotten injured many times, and he kept pushing, and there's nothing new for me. It's gonna continue, and I will definitely take it as it comes and just be more prepared, really, and to really get your body to a point where you can handle that better and better each time.
I learned how hard he worked. Like when he was really young, he practiced his singing and dancing at such a young age, and he was a really great singer. When he was like 8 years old, I heard his first song with his brothers, Big Boy, and I just was surprised how good he could sing at such a young age. And where does a kid learn that from? Well, he got inspired from musicians on Motown, Jackie Wilson, James Brown, and so that's what I really like about him, and he inspired me as well.
The peace. There's a grounded sense of peace that she carries daily. I'm a Trini girl born in Brooklyn, so that's not that's not as easy for me on a daily basis. But I've found that balance. And most importantly, I think Catherine had to be an observer, a protector, the voice of reason, the grounding force, the love, the safe space for her children. And sometimes that just means being, not saying, not doing. It's being and being settled in this, just being the carrier and the giver for the family. So it was an honor. It was an honor to learn parts of myself that are connected to that. It was also an honor to go against some of my natural instincts, perhaps. Yeah, Katherine Jackson, she's a woman who I believe is rooted in love and service, and there's a grace that comes with that.
When you start to learn about Joe Jackson, you have to also unpack men from a certain generation, and unpack what he strived to do and to be in the world, what he was up against as a black man in the world as well, and raising many children and wanting them to thrive and survive and be good citizens. And I think he imbued in them a tremendous work ethic. I mean, that's something that made Michael the greatest performer of all times. So I feel like you really just have to unpack that and really look at Joe as a father, as a husband, as someone who was as complex as anyone.
And survivor.
Absolutely.
Not to cut you off.
No, but it's true. As a survivor,
yeah.
You're right. I know it's funny. Many people have many opinions about Joe Jackson, but it's all by hearsay or what someone said about him instead of from Joe's perspective as well. And for me, when I did a lot of research, I love looking at Joe's interviews because he has a wry sense of humor and he's got a real honest point of view about himself and about whether it's about the discipline, whether it's about rigor, whether it's about business, and it's very strong opinions, and I respect it.
Well, there's so many things that come to mind. To me, most importantly, I would say the level of dedication he put towards wanting to make the world a better place. If it was through his music, if it was just through how he treated people day to day, and how he always wanted to have that message and carry it through within everything he did. And I really got a sense of that even more when I had access to his personal writings and journaling, and it allowed me into his mind, his psyche of how he felt about things going on around the world, or how he felt about the music industry at that moment, or entertainment industry as a whole. So that was so informative for me to read those and to kind of place them up on walls, so I had access to them at all times, so I can see it and embody it and live through it. But I learned many things throughout this process. It's really hard to pick one.
He's the king of pop. He is the king of pop. What Michael Jackson has done for the entertainment industry cannot be duplicated. And when you start to think of, he was the first black artist to be on MTV, and the visuals and the short films that he created, basically, they were music videos, but they look more like short films. The history that he attached, the characters that were playing in these videos, he wanted to give audiences something to think about, and we're still thinking.
I've been recently listening to Off the Wall. Off the Wall is my favorite right now, but if I would have to say all time, it would be Smooth Criminal or Beat It.
So I'm gonna say Smooth Criminal and Man in the Mirror.
That's good.
I go back and forth
Me too.
between Human Nature and then
Baby Be Mine.
PYT.
There's many bangers, so I feel like it's hard to choose just one.
Depends on your mood.
Yeah, but I would actually say my number one of all time is Man in the Mirror. I feel like it's so emotionally grounded and connected, and it tells such a great story and a responsibility of you really examining yourself to make a greater impact in the world.
I love it. And you want to be starting something.
Yeah, and you want to be starting something.